While Americans are suffering from record wealth disparity, unaffordable housing, stagnant wages, and the inability to feed themselves or their children for that matter, the outrageously wealthy heirs of BMW would like you to know that they're the real victims in today's brutal world. In an interview with Bloomberg, siblings Suzanne Clayton and Stefan Quandt, who own nearly half of BMW after inheriting the fortune their father worked for, argue that wealth redistribution doesn't work and that a fair society allows people to pursue opportunities according to their abilities. So, what the hell are their abilities other than opening their arms to their father's riches? But that's not all. Their comments throughout the Bloomberg fluff piece display a lack of self-awareness that I find fascinating. Think about it. These two inherited what their father built, yet they have the audacity to claim that their abilities led to their wealth. According to them, criticisms like the one I just uttered are unfair because their lives are extremely difficult. Clayton comments that, quote, many believe that we are permanently sitting around on a yacht in the Mediterranean. The role as guardian of wealth also has personal sides that aren't so nice. Our potential stems from the role of being an heir and developing that. We work hard on that every day. No, but you guys, that's what they literally said. Don't you guys know it takes a lot of rigorous and unrelenting labor to accept large sums of money you didn't work for? Duh. How much wealth? Well, Clayton is Germany's second richest person with a fortune valued at $18.6 billion. She has also built up holdings in chemicals companies Atlanta AG and carbon producer SGL Carbon SE. And while these two extremely fortunate heirs don't believe in pursuing a more equitable system so citizens aren't living in extreme poverty, they want to make sure we all know that they're not greedy, okay? Stefan Quandt says, for both of us, it's certainly not the money that drives us. Above all, it is the responsibility of securing jobs in Germany. Well, at least we know that the wealthy use the same easily debunkable arguments worldwide and not just here in the United States. Anyway, what I'd like to focus on for the purposes of this segment is self-realization and gratitude. Because while I'm certainly nowhere near as financially fortunate as these two goons I just described to you are, I did share a similar trait with them, and it's embarrassing to admit it. Look, most of us have these big dreams in our minds when we're kids. I remember the first time I realized my family was not well off. I grew up as a daughter of two immigrant working class parents who just simply couldn't afford the things I witnessed my peers enjoying. There were no shiny new threads for every new school year, only hand-me-downs from my older cousin Lily. There were no family vacations. There would literally be weeks where I didn't see my own dad because he would leave for work before I woke up and didn't make it back in time to put me to bed. I remember when the welding company he worked for relocated, leaving him jobless after my little brother was born. I remember my mom offering to sell her jewelry just to pay for extracurriculars that would provide new opportunities for me. And those life experiences made me determined to work extremely hard so I could become fabulously wealthy. That was the dream, right? So I didn't party in high school or college. I opted for an affordable state school with a reputable journalism program to avoid taking out student loans. By the way, that's not even possible anymore. I didn't live on campus to save money. I finished my graduate degree by 22. That's how focused I was on success. I followed the American Dream playbook and totally bought into this nonsense about how if you work hard and if you're dedicated, it'll lead you to a life of comfort and luxury. But in 2016, just as I was about to turn 30, I realized that I pretty much failed in my wealth building mission. Housing prices in LA continued to outpace my earnings by a lot. The cost of living led to financial pressures I was unrealistic about when I was younger. I was oblivious to the fact that there are very specific types of people who are willing to do what it takes to become insanely wealthy in today's America, and I'm just not that type of person. But every day I felt like I was reminded of how I didn't succeed or came up short, which led to a downward spiral of depression and self-pity. But in reality, I was unbearable, a whiny little brat to the fullest extent. I constantly complained about how hard my job is, refusing to acknowledge how lucky I am to have a job in the line of work I always dreamed about. The sense of entitlement is exactly what the BMW heirs revealed about themselves in that Bloomberg piece. After pausing to take notice of what the reality is for the vast majority of Americans, I became more aware and grateful of how fortunate I am to feel relatively financially secure. Now, that doesn't mean our system is working, but it does mean that I should feel fortunate that I'm not living on the streets like 60,000 people are in Los Angeles right now. Things have gotten so bad for young people that they're literally dishing out $1,200 a month to rent a pod in warehouses. One of the savvy businesses capitalizing off of this is called PodShare. Take a look at how it works.
Every 50 square feet, we can sleep 2 to 4 people, depending on if it's a twin bed or a queen size bed. No one else builds like this. If you're getting a bunk bed at IKEA, it's meant for children. If you're getting a room, it won't occupy as many people. Our model is the best solution to get people off the streets in a matter of months instead of years.
Look, obviously, when you're cramming 4 people into every 50 square foot partition, there are going to be some issues.
So the hardest thing about living in a place like this is that you give up your privacy. That's something that you do have to get used to once you start. By the way, come on through.
Oh yeah, go through.
Last time.
Not a problem.
But then you find ways to reclaim your privacy. Fortunately, in this location, it's 4 floors and there are plenty of places to hang out.
There's certain things you have to give up when you want to live in the center and pay no security deposit, and that's privacy here.
We live in the richest country in the world, and we have college grads, some of whom have engineering degrees, renting pods for thousands of dollars a month because a studio apartment has become unattainable. And although these stories make me grateful for my own situation, I'm not really interested in talking about this as an exercise in comparative analysis. We need to demand more. The pernicious mentality of entitlement displayed by the world's elite needs to be challenged, and challenged aggressively. And I hope I do a decent job in pointing that out on this show. We all know who the real victims are in today's economy. They're the people working full-time, earning starvation wages that can't afford the bare necessities for survival. Imagine how the BMW heirs would feel if they had to walk a single day in their shoes. You never have to miss another episode of No Filter by ringing the bell below. You'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget to join TYT and download the TYT Plus app today. Download our TYT Plus app on your iPhone or head over to tyt.com/join.